Hello everybody, welcome back to another video on the channel. Now in this video we'll be talking Sir Jim Ratcliffe and what's the latest going on with him. Now he talked about the Mason Greenwood situation, which you can obviously see in the title. He talked about some really interesting things, and yeah, we're going to be going through a lot of quotes, so expect it to be kind of a longer video today. But don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. I mean, let's get into it. We're going to give you some quotes. Obviously it's been announced yesterday that Sir Jim's stake has been approved by the Premier League, and he's really excited to take over. Now we've given some quotes from Sir Jim about Ten Hag and about the situation at Manchester United, so we'll be giving you that, and yeah, we'll be giving you some other latest news. So don't forget to leave a like. There's a lot of stuff to go through. He talked about a new stadium, Eric Ten Hag situation, and much more. So he talked about Sheikh Jassim and said something very interesting about that. So yeah, expect it to be a very different video today. We're just going to give you a lot of quotes. So the first quote is Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He said, "I'm not interested in the financial aspects of this investment, or really because I make enough money in chemicals and oil and gas. Really, this is not a financial investment. It's because I'm interested in seeing Manchester United being successful again." Now we know he's a Manchester United fan, so it just shows confidence there. He says Manchester United has not been successful in the last 11 years, but needs to get back to where it should be, which is at the top of the game. On the pitch is simple. I see the only interest we have is winning football matches and competing for the Premier League and Champions League. So that's our only interest in being involved in MUFC. He consistently talked about not being in the club for money. Obviously, he's the richest man in the UK, in Britain, and you can see his added in intentions to make Manchester United great again. And that's something that we really want to see. He also said, of Manchester City and Liverpool, they are the enemy. He wants to knock them off their perch, and that's something that he wants to do. He wants to have everyone in place. I mean, he's stealing people left, right and centre. He said Liverpool and Manchester City have been in a good place for a while, and there are things we can learn from both of them. They have sensible organisations, great people within the organisations, a good driven and elite environment that they work in. I'm very respectful of that, but they are still the enemy. So yeah, Sir Jim briefly talked about that, and he knows what organisations they have, and he knows that you need structures in place to be the best. I mean, that's something Manchester United have struggled on. We haven't had the best people in place and the top people in place to take us forward, and that's something Sir Jim is massively offering for us, and that's something that we want to see and improve on, because our structure and development has not been the greatest over the past few years. Now, as I said, he talked about Mason Greenwood. I know that's something that is a very sensitive topic, so I'll talk about it with the most respect I have. But to Jim on Mason Greenwood, he said it's a fresh decision. I can talk about the principle. I'm not going to talk about Mason. I'm familiar with it. The principle is an important one. We will have other issues going forward. You are dealing with young people who have not always been brought up in the best circumstances. They have a lot of money and they didn't always have the guidance they should have had. What you need to do with issues like this is understand the real effects, not the hype. Then we need to make a fair decision in the light of the club's values. That's what we need to do, and that's how we will deal with it. So it shows that he probably is considering bringing Mason back. I mean, it is a new start. I don't agree with that personally, and it is going to cause a lot of controversy. I mean, last season Manchester United were extremely adamant that Greenwood would not be returning to Manchester United. Hence the reason they sent him on loan. But that option could be on the cards again for Manchester United. I mean, they're going to have to make a decision. And the fact that Sir Jim and Ineos are in charge of the footballing principles, it will be down to their decision really, and that's something that every player, probably Sir Alex, will probably have a say on. All the integral part of Manchester United structure will have a part to play in that deal, and deciding what goes on there, because it will be a very fascinating and controversial issue for sure. Now, another thing he talked about was Dan Ashworth. He said, "Oh, Sir Jim on Newcastle placing Dan Ashworth on gardening leave." He said, "I think he's a bit silly. Personally, I wouldn't get dragged into that. What I do think is completely absurd is suggesting a man who's really good at his job sits in his garden for 1.5 years." I mean, it shows the confidence that he has. I mean, he wants to get him in. He doesn't want to waste time, and that shows a determination and a accountability. I mean, he wants to be determined, and he wants to get stuck in straight away. Now, he said something on Sheikh Jassim, which I don't know. It caused kind of a joke on Twitter. I mean, he said, "Still, nobody's ever seen him. Actually, the Glazers never met him. I never sure he exists." So that's something confusing. Obviously, there was a huge battle with Ineos and Qatar over the purchase of Manchester United, and you can see that Ineos have taken that deal. And yeah, it is really fascinating, but it is really, really confusing. Now, Sir Jim said that it's been a couple of complete misery. It's been a complete misery, really, in the last 11 years, and it's just frustrating. If you're a supporter during that period of time, that's football, isn't it? It has its ups and its downs. I remember pre-Ferguson, when it wasn't quite some time, for more extended period of time, for actually about 25 years. We have two issues. One is long-term, getting Manchester United to where we would like to get it. But there's also a shorter term, getting the club at the most as it stands today, because we would like to see the Champions League for next season if we can. I think the ultimate target for Manchester United is always going to win the Premier League and Champions League. Now, obviously, we've seen that determination from him to get Manchester United the best. I mean, we haven't been good, if I'm honest, in time now. I think 11 years since we last won the Premier League, the consistency has massively fallen off, and we have got a lot of problems in our way. I think Erik ten Hag knows the importance of getting these problems solved. I'm talking about the importance of them because that's something that we need to see, and it needs to show a massive importance to Erik ten Hag, and it holds a massive support for the fans. I mean, I've obviously seen Manchester United through the tough times, and I hope Sir Jim will be the man that takes us to the good times, because that's something that is really important for me. I love Manchester United, and they're the best club in the world, and it's really quite sad that we haven't been pushing the levels where we want to be pushing. Yes, I've seen us win some trophies, but it's not been the greatest, and it's not been good enough. Now, he talked about the structure. I mean, he said we need to do things well and properly and thoroughly and not rush it. So it's not an overnight change. It's going to take 2 or 3 seasons. You have to ask the fans for some patience. We had a very adult conversation with Manchester City about Omar Barada. We settled things amicably. They understood why he wanted to take on this challenge. So yeah, that shows that he's going to be respectful about his way, but he's obviously very in depth. He's got a good team around him who will look at every aspect of every deal, and that's something that we need to see, because it's vastly important for Sir Jim to have that great intentions. I mean, he's coming with a lot of pressure on him, and hopefully he's trying to live up to that. Now, he's talked about the Glazers. Now, he said I have a very good relationship with Joel and Avram. They're only 2 siblings we have met. There's a good amount of trust between us, and there's obviously comfortable with the fact that we've managed the sporting aspect. Now, the Glazers know they ain't good for Manchester United team, that sporting issues. They're only here for the money, and I think they know that, and the fans definitely know that. They're the Glazer family are a family who's not put their best and heart into Manchester United. They've used it as a way just to leech money out of the club, and it is sad because the fans expect a lot. You just want to see your club succeed, and it makes people happy. I mean, Manchester United have just gone in ups and downs, changing of manager, so it is quite concerning. But I think hopefully we'll be in a better position, because we definitely need to see that, and it's really important for Sir Jim to do that, and it is so technically important to progress now. He said he wants to be good at recruitment, so thinking how we become best at recruiting is the future. This means having the right people. So that's another important thing he talked about. Now, there was a message to the fans that he put in his interview. Our priority is the performance on the pitch. We want Manchester United to be challenging for Premier League and Champions League. That's what Manchester United is about. It's the greatest club in the world. It's the greatest club in the world. It's the greatest club in the world. But it's not a light switch. We can't just switch and all of a sudden United will play at the level of Real Madrid, because they haven't been for the 11 years. This takes time and patience. The important thing is that we will observe the trajectory of Manchester United over the next 2 or 3 seasons, and that it has to be in a good direction. What you need is the foundation of Manchester United to succeed, and that having the right organisational structure. That means not having a manager reporting to that means not having a manager reporting to the chief executive, for example. We need to fill in all key positions with people who are the best in class, and there's clearly a lot of interest in these positions because they're the biggest. Manchester United is the biggest club in the world. Now listen, Manchester United are the biggest club in the world, and they are going to attract people from big clubs. I mean, the importance of that is to show the quality that we have, and so Jim is certainly attracting one of the biggest people. I think Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth hopefully coming in is really important for us. He said it's a bigger sporting challenge in my career, but it's certainly the biggest sporting challenge. It's huge, and the club is huge. Everywhere I go in the world is Manchester United. We need to fix many aspects of the club, takes the right people in the right time. I don't think it's never a financial investment. The goal was to involve and have an influence. We need to succeed on the pitch, he said. Now, he did talk about Erik ten Hag, which did cause quite an uproar on Twitter. He said, what I would say is, if you look at the last 11 years, Manchester United have had quite a few coaches. Some of them have been capable, some of them have been very successful, but nobody has been successful in that Manchester United environment in the last 11 years. So with me, that's something wrong in the environment. I mean, there certainly is. I mean, we've had some great managers. I think Mourinho, you can see what he's done in the game. I think LVG was a good manager as well. I think Ten Hag's a good manager, but he's just struggling to succeed. And that shows that it's not the managers. It's sometimes something going on above that we haven't seen yet. Now, a few more quotes. It's not a 10-year plan. The fans would run out of patience if there was a 10-year plan, but it's only a 3-year plan to get there. The bottom line is, this is our trajectory. The people see we are progressing. So, yeah, it is important. I think you can see it's not going to be an instant fix, but there's definitely hope around Manchester United and the way that we look to progress. Now, he talked about New Old Trafford. He said it would be a no-brainer. So he wants to have a look at when... what we see is very good case for renovating Old Trafford, probably costing around $1 billion. We end up with a big stadium, probably 80 to 90,000 places. But it's not perfect because we're changing the stadium that's right next to a railway line and all that kind of stuff. So it's not an ideal world. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, he talked about Brailsford. He said he'd be important for the future of Manchester United. He's interested in elite performance and will succeed at Manchester United. And, yeah, that's it at the minute. I mean, sorry for the long video, but there's a lot of quotes coming out. And let me know what you think is the latest. Now, one more quote. He said, Dan Ashworth is a 10 out of 10 sporting director, one of the best. He would be very good for United. It's understandable that somebody like Dan will see Manchester United job as a very interesting challenge in this stage of his career. So, yeah. Oh, sorry, there's one more. We're not going to go back and forward between the Jose Mourinho and the Pep Guardiola style. We want our own style, and you want to change the modern way of football. He said he wants to crush Manchester City on the football pitch. He said we're making mistakes, but make sure that we don't make them a second time. We'll be less compassionate. We made mistakes, and I'm very glad we made the mistakes before arriving. And Manchester United, we're recruiting sporting directors, probably recruitment managers, and that'll be Manchester United style of football. The manager will have a big understanding. Now, whether Erik ten Hag will look to be a part of that structure, we don't know. I think I'm confident with Ten Hag at the minute. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. That has been the video. He's talked about a lot of stuff in that, and hopefully he'll be positive for Manchester United. A lot of quotes. He wants to be the best for Manchester United, and we can see the drive that he has. He's trying to recruit the best people, and he just wants to be positive, and he just wants to have the potential that we know that's there, and I'm really confident with him. So yeah, that has been the video. Thanks for watching. And yeah, let me know what you think. But it's officially been confirmed, and it's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. As always, there's some interesting topics that he discussed. But yeah, thanks for watching. As always, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Peace.